What's going on, folks? Wes Pruitt, 4-Star Sports Media. You are sitting down at the Tigers Den. We talk all things Memphis Tigers. We come to you on a Monday night. It is September 29th, 2025. Welcome into the show. For those of you who are returning viewers, you know what's going on. You know who we are. For those of you who are watching for the first time, we are 4-Star Sports Media. Head over to our website now, 4star.live. Also, you can find us on social media at 4-Star Sports M, or on your podcast, wherever you get those, whatever your fancy is. Type in 4-Star Sports Media Network, and you will find our content. It's not just Memphis Tigers. We talk Memphis Tigers. We talk Arkansas Razorbacks. We talk Arkansas Razorbacks hockey. We have a show called Sports Buffet. Matter of fact, we got an episode out now on the website where we sat down with Jeff Williams, current Harbor athletic director, former high school coach here in the state of Arkansas, and also podcaster, as he's got the Coaches Pod, where he sits down and talks to the nation's D1 and other head coaches about real life issues. As it's a real conversation piece style podcast that I'm a big fan of. No, man, I really appreciate Jeff coming by and sitting down today for a great conversation. This is the Tigers Den, where it's all Memphis all the time, as you can see at the bottom of the screen there. Welcome into the show. Hope everyone's doing well. We've got a lot to cover tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to get started with What's on Tap, which is poured by Athletic Brewing. Head over to athleticbrewingcompany.com now. They are the nation's leading non-alcoholic brewing company in the nation. They've got a place in Scranton, Pennsylvania. They've got a place in San Diego, California. They've got numerous flavors. They've got an Oktoberfest. It's out right now. Really good beer. They've got Upside Dawn, which is an IPA. They've got Atletica, which tastes just like a Corona. They've got an Athletic Light, which tastes just like a Miller Lite. But they are powering or pouring What's on Tap, which is where we give a quick rundown of the show. We got volleyball tonight. We got Memphis soccer. We've got softball. We've also got, we'll have a break. And then after the break, we've got soccer of the men's. And then we have football as we talk about the Golden Hurricanes as they come to town this upcoming week. Should be very interesting. Should be a lot of fun. Probably going to hear a lot of in the crowd. That should be exciting. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's talk Memphis volleyball as they continue to dig through. We're going to give a trivia question here coming up as well. But just 3 days ago, the Tigers got their first conference win. They won the conference opener 3-1 over Tulane down in New Orleans. Tigers 9-5 at the time, then 1-0 in the conference. Battled it out in 4 sets against Tulane inside Avron Fogelman Arena on Friday night. This win marks the Tigers' first road victory of the season and their first in American Conference play. The win marked Memphis' first in conference opener since 2015 when the Tigers defeated Cincinnati 3-2. The match was also Memphis' most recent win in a road conference opening match. The win marks the first Tigers road win of the 2025 season. Obviously, it's the first one. They did secure one win away from El Marone Fieldhouse, but that was a neutral site game or match, against Texas. Southern 2 Tigers, Zaniah Hoskins and Sydney Marshall, would both record double-doubles in the win. Hoskins finished the night with 18 kills and 13 digs, while Marshall recorded 20 assists and 18 digs as well. Big-time win. So then, fast forward to yesterday, where they took on Wichita State there at El Marone Fieldhouse. It was 1 p.m. It was on ESPN Plus. Tyler Springs was on the call. By the way, Tyler did an amazing job. In that match, the Tigers would fall to Wichita State, dropped a 3-set match as they fell 4-0, um, a 4-0 run before Memphis settled in. Wichita State went on a 4-0 run before the Tigers settled in, and even the frame at 15. But the Shockers closed strong, using kills from Mackenzie Jones, Brooklyn Leggett, and Emerson Wilford to take the opening set 25-19. Memphis now sits at 1-1 through the first weekend of American Conference play for the second season in a row. Tigers have failed to secure a victory over Wichita State in their last 8 contests against the Shockers. The Tigers' 33 kills in the match are tied for the second lowest total this season, with a matchup against Ole Miss on September 16th. So, big time stuff. They'll be back coming up. We'll have more on them as the season digs on. Let's kick it over to Memphis soccer now, as the Tigers found a spark, was a little slow getting out of the gates against South Florida, but the number 11 ranked Memphis women's soccer team would score 3 goals in the second half to get a decisive win, but slow win. But it was on Thursday night as Alex Mackey broke the deadlock early in the second half as she got the onslaught started. But they outshot the Bulls 10-6 in the second half of the game. Ashley Anderson would bury a free kick in the 71st minute, and then Kitagawa would seal the victory with 5 minutes to play as Memphis improves to 8-0-2, 2-0-1 in the American as they completed their 35th consecutive home game without a loss. Head coach Brooks Monaghan would say, that team we played is really, really good. People see that we beat some big SEC teams, some SEC names, but South Florida is up there with them. He would go on to say, I thought we let them do a lot in the first half with the ball, but we challenged the girls at halftime and they responded. Once we scored, I thought we did a great job of staying on the front foot. The Bulls, who are now 6-5 overall, 2-1 in conference play, went toe-to-toe with Memphis in the first half as the Tigers only produced 4 shots, but earned 4 corners kicked and controlled the ball. The Bulls controlled the ball more than the Tigers' previous conference opponents. The second half would start with the same intensity for the Bulls. Up next, going to be a tough one as the Tigers would then travel down to Houston, and we thought it might be a problem, to be honest with you, as they traveled down yesterday on Sunday to take on Houston. They got away with a 2-0 win over the top 25, number 25 ranked, but top 25 Rice out. So Tigers are now 9-0-2 on the season. They scored once in each half as Ashley Anderson and Flavin Dubé would both score in the game. Control the top spot in the conference. That's what's really important right now. After the win, Monaghan would say, quote, I'm really pleased with the effort today, especially in the first half. We haven't always performed our best in the heat. So to battle with a tough, direct team in the elements is great. He would go on to say, I think we are still growing as a team, and that was on display with these 2 performances. We're seeing a lot of different game plans against us, and we want to still be growing as a team and not be stagnant as the season wears on. Interesting there. Tigers will be back Thursday, October 2nd to take on Tulsa at 7 p.m. They're on the road as they head over to Tulsa, 7 p.m. That will be streamed on ESPN+. Up next, we've got softball around the corner as we saw the success of Trina Prater in season 1. And now we've got fall 2025 conference slate as it features 8 contests, 6 taking place at Tigers Sports Complex as the Tigers travel to Tuscaloosa and Jacksonville to take on Alabama and Jacksonville State as well. Prater would say, We're excited to get on the field this season with a great mix of returners, 5 freshmen, and 9 transfers. I think we have a good mix of old and new that is going to continue the tradition of the culture of the program and continue to strive for competitive greatness. I love that statement right there. She was going to say we've added some road games against Alabama and Jacksonville State to make sure that we are prepared for the environment and getting those experiences in the fall. I'm really looking forward to getting some good crowds this fall to support our girls and to represent Memphis. Well, it all gets started October 3rd as they have a home game against Mississippi Delta Community College. The very next day, they host Delta State and Rhodes College in a doubleheader scheduled for 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. respectively. The Tigers then host Arkansas State Newport on October 5th as the Tigers' 4th competition of the weekend. The Tigers following weekend on October 11th, the Tigers will travel down to Tuscaloosa to take on the Crimson Tide before finishing that weekend at Jacksonville State against the Gamecocks on October 12th. They complete the fall schedule on October 19th against NCAA regional participant Jackson State. If you remember correctly, Memphis played them last year, followed by a fall finale against Christian Brothers on October 24th. We're going to take a quick break, but after the break, when we come back, we're going to be talking men's soccer, going to be talking Tiger football as we dive into much more. It's not over with. We got a lot more to go. Let's play a little yacht rock. As that sounds like something good to play on a Monday night. But we'll be right back. This is the Tigers Den right here on the 4-Star Sports Media Network.
What do you guys want to talk about?
So we're going to talk about a little men's soccer. Welcome back, Tigers Den, right here on the 4-Star Sports Media Network. I'm your host, Wes Pruitt. Thank you for everyone watching and listening over on our social medias tonight as we present a live feed of the recording of the show. Men's soccer, as the Tigers got a 3-2 win over Tulsa last night. Comeback victory, come from behind victory. As Tigers are now 3-4, 2-1 in the conference play. as they scored 3 second-half goals to earn a comeback victory against Tulsa 3-2 last night. Scoreless first half from both sides was followed by a 5-goal second half, which is incredible to see at college level of soccer. But incredible stuff right there for the men's soccer team. Well, when you look at it, it's their first winning streak of 2025, with both wins coming from a score of 3-2 in conference play, and with a game-winning goal in the final 15 minutes of the match. Through 10 matches, the Tigers have already tied their team assist total of 18 from a year ago. 6 Tigers logged a full 90 minutes played in the victory. That marks the most Memphis players to play 90 minutes in a match this season. 4 cards were also issued in the match, all of which were issued to the member of Tulsa, as the head coach, the assistant coach, the midfielder were all, as well as another one, was all assisted or given yellow cards. Speaking of men's soccer, Eben McIntyre and Miller Lashley have been named Offensive Player of the Week and Freshman of the Week, respectively, per the league release, which was announced today, which was also sent to 4-Star Sports Media. And Saturday's win, like I said yesterday, McIntyre logged an assist and scored the game-winning goal in the 78th minute of the match. It's the first goal to bring the match level in the 61st minute. Big time stuff there. Tigers men's soccer now takes on or heads over to Charlotte to take on the 49ers. October 3rd, Friday night, 6 o'clock p.m., Charlotte Soccer Field. Game will be on ESPN+. So we're going to jump over now to Tiger football. But before I do that, I want to do a little Tiger trivia. I hadn't forgot about it. Don't worry. But here we go. Let's do a little Tiger trivia. And it is...
It's time!
That's right, Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. It is time. So let's go with a little Tiger trivia. Very simple question tonight. Not difficult at all. Who has the record for most carries in Memphis football history? What player has the most carries in Memphis football history? And we're gonna give this answer after we're done with the football portion of the show. But I'm gonna leave this question up as we go. But I want to talk about Florida Atlantic before we get into some awards that we got announced, and then we'll get into Tulsa. I do want to discuss last week's game. 31 points in the fourth quarter is almost unheard of. And 31 points in the fourth quarter gave Memphis a 5-0 record. And for anyone out there that wants to say, "Oh well, West Florida Atlantic is 1-3, they're terrible, they're horrible," let's just pump the brakes a little bit. Because if you watch the game, or if you listen to the game, however you consumed the product, there's no doubt Florida Atlantic, they're the fastest team in the country, as we said last week, if you go back to our social media. But the way Florida Atlantic runs their offense, and by the way, I have no problem with their head coach, tallest head coach in FBS, by the way, he's 6'7", Zach Kitley. The Florida Atlantic coach is the tallest head coach in the FBS. Conversely, Dow Loggins, the head coach at App State, is 5'5". So he's my height. But when you look at the way Florida Atlantic runs their offense, and we'll get into how their offense may have been their enemy by the end of the night. But when you look at how they do it, it's pretty simple. I mean, they're go, go, go. It's fast, fast, fast. But Van Clef, their quarterback, was not bad at all. But the Memphis defense, again, and then you look at between the defense, then you look at the legs of Duozier, you look at Sutton Smith, which I'm going to talk about him in a minute. You talk about Lewis, Bram Jr. I've seen people ask the question, where would Memphis football be without Bram Jr.? I mean, who knows? Nobody knows that answer. But then, you look at the defensive side of things, and it's even stronger. But Greg Duozier, first back to run over 200 yards since 2019 in Monroe, Louisiana, when Kenneth Gainwell ran for 220 against Louisiana Monroe. The way Brandon Lewis continues to just maneuver this offense, and we're going to get into some very early keys to success for Memphis coming up this week. But the way Brandon Lewis continues to run this offense is really impressive, and it's so impressive that it's got him on the Davey O'Brien Week 5 Grade 8 list, as the Davey O'Brien Foundation announced today. With being named to the list, he also finds himself on the Davey O'Brien Award midseason watch list. As the Davey O'Brien National Quarterback Award is presented annually to the nation's best college quarterback and is the oldest and most prestigious National Quarterback Award. Lewis finished 13 of 19 for 196 and 2 touchdowns. The dual-threat quarterback also punched in 2 scores of his own while running for 60 yards himself on 17 carries. We call it a season to change. We've been saying this since June. We've been saying this since Seth Hennigan was gone after the last game, after the bowl game. But then once it was announced Brandon Lewis was coming in, it was a season to change. We immediately knew what we were going to see. But then when you take into account Sutton Smith's back, Brandon Lewis is back, Makari Bodiford is back, you bring in Pizan from MTSU. But Duozier has been tagged the American Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Week, while teammate DeMarco Ward was named to the honorable mention list, as the conference announced today. Duozier Jr. is a Lawrence, Mass native. He rushed for a career-high 204 and 3 touchdowns on 19 carries in the 55-26 win at Florida Atlantic, which kept the Tigers undefeated and extended the nation's longest active winning streak to 9 games. Like I said just a minute ago, it's the most by a Tiger. We'll talk about another record here coming up, but the 204 was the most by an American player this season and marked only the second time this season that an FBS player has surpassed 200 yards on the ground. His 90-yard touchdown in the third quarter was the longest rush by a Memphis Tiger since Herb Covington during the 1966 season. Big time stuff right there for Memphis. But now you look at what's next. Now you look at Tulsa. And I'm going to go ahead and put the first key up there. But when you look at this team, I mean, what else do Memphis fans, I mean, what else can you ask for? You've got a Tiger football team that is playing absolutely incredible football. You look at them coming into this week, they're averaging 39.6 points a game, 247 yards on the ground, 200 yards through the air. It's 447.8 overall a game. Time of possession is 30 minutes. I'll let y'all go do the math on how long a football game lasts on a regulation basis. Third down percentage, Memphis 28 is 60, it's 46%. Fourth down, 4 of 6, 66%. Red zone scores, Tigers are a 100%, 19 of 19. When you look at the Golden Hurricanes, 21 points per game, 168 on the ground, 224 through the air. That is a total of 392 total per game. 29 minutes, 19 seconds is what they average in time of possession. I think, if you've listened to John Sturdivant and I for any point of time, especially since we've been doing this, that is one stat that I am always going to look at as time possession. And when I watch a game, it's something that I am just subconsciously paying attention to, because a lot of times, especially depending on what type of offense you run or your opponent runs, um, it can dictate a lot within the game, right? So when you look at time of possession this week, obviously Memphis runs the ball really, really well. I mean, when you look at, and we'll talk about um, the Golden Hurricanes, but you look at this series, 33rd series all time, 33rd meeting, sorry, all time. It's the first meeting between these two teams since the 2022 season, where Chris Howard went a perfect 4-for-4 on field goals. By the way, you can go back and listen to an interview with Chris Howard uh, on our website, fourstar.live, including he would make a 49-yarder in the first quarter. Quarterback Seth Hennigan would finish the game 20 for 32 for 262 and a touchdown pass to Javon Ivory on the team's second drive of the game. Dating back to 2014, Memphis has won 6 of the last 8 matchups against Tulsa and is 3-1 inside Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium during that time frame. When you look at Tulsa, they're coming off a 31-14 loss to Tulane. Prior to falling to Tulane, they did take down Oklahoma State 19-12 in the Gateway First Bank Turnpike Classic in Stillwater, and that loss got Mike Gundy out of the door. As a team, Tulsa ranks in the top 30 in the country in fumbles recovered, 23rd, fewest penalty yards per game, 29th, and first down offense, 30th. 7 p.m. ESPNU coming up this Saturday from Simmons Bank Stadium. We're going to get more into this game as we go, but let's just go over the first 3 keys that stand out to me as this game nears. First one is really pretty easy, but you got to continue to play well at home. You have to continue to defend home field. It's something that Ryan Silverfield's done really well. It's something that Mike Norvell did well. It's something that Justin Fuente's done well, but it's just something that Memphis does well. They play well inside their home stadium as of late. Coming off a big win at home last time against Arkansas, very curious to see what kind of crowd Memphis has. You're 5-0 coming into this game. You're on the cusp of being in the top 25. You're currently being mentioned as one of, if not the leader in the clubhouse of Group of 6 for the college football playoff. You got to show up. But Memphis has to play well. You cannot overlook this football team. If you do, you will lose. I'm telling you right now, and I know everybody's like, oh, Wes, you say that every week. Yeah, you're right, I do. It's because it's a factor every week. And I think Ryan Silverfield's done a really good job of not letting this team become complacent within success. In addition to that, I think Ryan Silverfield and his staff do a really good job of literally week to week, hey, let's stay with what's in front of us. Who's in front of us? Okay, let's go take care of them. Second one is, and I think Memphis has done a really good job of this, I think when you look at Memphis on the defensive line front, I think there's one of the more eruptive, I'll use that term. I think Memphis defensive line-wise is one of the more eruptive that I've seen play across the country, and I've watched a lot of teams play thus far this season, and this is just week 6. Offensively, offensive line-wise in the trenches, are they the biggest? No, but they get to where they need to make the block they need to make thus far. They've done a really good job of blocking for a Memphis running game that's averaging over 200 yards a game. You've got 291 on the ground. Man, Memphis as an offense right now has eclipsed the 400-yard mark in 8 consecutive games dating back to last season. That tells me they're learning, they're controlling the trenches. Because at the end of the day, you have to control the trenches to have success, especially at this level. But more important than that, to get to where you want to get to win the conference championship, which is definitely a goal, to get to the college football playoff and have success, you have to control the trenches. You saw it against Arkansas where Adams went out. He was back in. What didn't take very long. He was back in, continuing to play, whether he was hurting or not. But when you've got a quarterback like Brandon Lewis, we saw in the most recent game, he goes down, right? What does Memphis do? They bring in Maiden. You don't really see a lot from Maiden. A lot of handoffs. You really didn't see him open it up. You really didn't see Cramsey. I'm going to talk about Cramsey in a minute, but you really didn't see Cramsey give the playbook to him in a sense. So it makes me kind of wonder, hey, what does he do? I mean, obviously, we know he can throw the football, right? We know he can run the football. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, I mean, obviously, there's packages for this guy. Based on what you see from Brandon Lewis, it's going to be the same style, we would assume. Bigger guy. We saw what he did in the Arkansas game. But that was a very telling thing for me. Is okay, all right. Lewis goes out. Okay, let's see how they play this. And then yes, they played it safe. I understand that. But for Lewis to stay upright, to stay healthy. Now, yes, I know he's taking a lot of hits based on his style of play. But the offensive lines can got to continue to play well for Memphis. And the final key to success is just let Cramsey cook. I talked about this offense, 487 yards total offense, 291 on the ground, 196 through the air. 291 is the most in a single game since 2021. The Tigers ran for 322 against Nichols. It was the most against an FBS opponent since 325 rushing against South Florida back in 2019. When you have a running game like that, plus you've got weapons on the outside. We talked about Cortez Brown. You've got Hawkins. You've got others. You've got Greg DeWozier. You've got Sutton Smith that you can get involved in the running game or the passing game as well. But to score 31 points in the fourth quarter alone, it's the most points for the program in a single quarter since scoring 35 in the first quarter against Bowling Green in 2016, if y'all remember that game. That was an incredible football game. This Memphis offense is different. This Memphis team is different. And I think it really kind of leads into my closing conversation. But you've got to enjoy this if you're Memphis fans. You can't. And I mean, yeah, we had a real heart-to-heart conversation last week about it. With jobs being open around the country, one of them being right back here, this logo right back here. Silverfield's going to get phone calls. His agents are going to get phone calls. He's going to be contacted. And if you don't think that, you are oblivious. Tim Cramsey has done an incredible job with this offense. But what Ryan Silverfield's been able to do with this team, and this team is special this year. We talked about it in June that we had a feeling. This team's special. The way they fought back against Arkansas, the way they closed out Florida Atlantic on the road. No fear. Silverfield said in the Arkansas game, this team has a no fear mentality. That's dangerous, people. It's very dangerous. And you've got a Tulsa team coming in, ESPNU, national eyes. Let Cramsey cook. Let him go out there and let him open it up a little bit. Let's see what this offense can do a little bit against Tulsa. I really want to. I'm really tasking this team to open it up a little bit. We saw the little double pass against Arkansas, stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying let me see what this offense can. Let's spread it out a little bit. Let's see what these guys can do, and continue to have a no fear mentality. Continue to close opponents out like Memphis did at Florida Atlantic. Because if you can continue to do that, the schedule lines up. The schedule lines up for a special season. You've got Tulane, you've got Navy, you still got South Florida. You've got a UTSA team that, who knows? You've got potentially conference championship. But, like I said, it leads me into my last point. It's kind of closing the den down. That's kind of what I call it. But it's time to let's just have this talk now and get it over with. I alluded to it a minute ago talking about Silverfield. If you think that Ryan Silverfield is not going to be contacted for not just the positions that are open right now, but the positions that are going to come open as the season goes, because we know it's going to happen. They're going to continue to open up across the country. If you don't think Ryan Silverfield is going to be contacted or hasn't already been contacted, you're oblivious. And I'm not sitting here saying he's already been contacted. That's not what I'm saying. What Silverfield has been able to do with sustaining the success that you see at Memphis, more importantly, what he's been able to do with new age college football, with the NIL, with transfer portal. I talked to Jeff Williams about it earlier. You can head over to 4star.live now and check it out, Sports Buffet episode. He talked about Silverfield, how Ryan's been able to stash and sign and stash. This team's special. Ryan understands this team's special. I think that's a factor in all of this. I think Arkansas is going to contact Ryan. I think Arkansas will be doing themselves a disservice not to contact Ryan Silverfield. It's just my honest opinion. And if you're Ryan Silverfield, you're going to listen to that conversation. But if you're Ryan Silverfield, I also feel, and this is my personal opinion, in addition to conversations that I've had with people that are connected, I feel that Ryan Silverfield understands that what this season is. And I don't think that he would entertain it at this moment because he knows it would become a distraction. We're early in the season. This is just week 5, week 6. You've got a lot of football left to play. And when you look at the history of Memphis, you look at Mike Norvell, how he went out after SMU. You look at, after Cincinnati, I'm proud Memphis and all that. You look at Justin Fuente. It was literally announced during the SMU game that he was going to Virginia Tech. They actually put it on the Jumbotron of the stadium. I was there. When you look at the history of Memphis and how we're the group of 5 and where these Power 4, A4, whatever you want to call them, where these teams coming and then they money talks, everything else walks. We know this. But I think right now you've got one in Ryan that understands what he has. That understands Memphis is actually can be a very special place, and right now it is. But then you take it, you go even personal with it. Where he's got two daughters. They're growing up in Memphis. He's got a wife, and it's think about it, people. He's been in Memphis for a long time, and there's been offers before. Just to let you know, this isn't the first time Ryan Silverfield's ever going to be contacted about a job. But I don't think, and yes, on September 29th of 2025, I just think Ryan's really happy, and I think Ryan understands what he has. But for people to be asking him questions, just let the season play out. Let these guys coach. Let these guys play. There's no need to ask Ryan about open positions around the country. There's no need. His name's going to be in articles all across the country. It already is. Where I live, his name's talked about quite often. His as well as Jordan Hankins and Tim Cramsey, for that matter. But more than Cramsey, Jordan Hankins and Ryan Silverfield. Memphis is no longer a secret. When Fuente went to Virginia Tech, that was they were taking a chance. Yes, they knew he was an offensive, TCU offensive coordinator. I get all that, but Fuente hadn't been at Memphis long. Florida State wasn't taking a chance. Florida State knew what they were getting in Mike. And I think Ryan knows what he has in Memphis. Which is why I say let's just get this conversation over with. As of today, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Now, as I said a minute ago, money talks, everything else walks. If somebody comes available down the road, don't come at me. But I think, like I said, I think he understands you can't have a distraction. You have to keep everything right in front of you. But at the same time, Ryan has to keep everything right in front of him. But I think if you're a Memphis fan, you're excited right now. You're 5-0. You have the nation's longest winning streak right now in the country at 9 games. Your logo is seen everywhere right now. Your logo is now seen in college football playoff brackets. That's big. That's big for expansion. That's big for college, for realignment, for the next awakening that's coming in 2029, 2030, which we've been talking about for the last 2 years. The Memphis logo is known. The Memphis logo is being seen everywhere right now. The Memphis program is hot. So hot, people that completely trashed Ryan Silverfield are now backing him. And I give them kudos. But at the same time, we understand what losing does. Winning cures all, but losing can change it all. I think when you look at Memphis this week, we went over the brief 3 keys. We're going to go back over them more. We'll be back Saturday. We'll be live. We'll be doing a pregame show on Saturday afternoon. But you look at the Memphis Tigers right now, their logo is seen everywhere. The program is hot, possibly the hottest it's ever been. And leading the way is Ryan Silverfield, a coach that is just continuously had continuity within a program, and he said he sustained success within that continuity, and that continuity is not only on the field but with his staff. October 4th, Tulsa, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, 7 p.m. kickoff, ESPNU. But before we go, I got to give the trivia question answer. And here it is. The answer is Doc Holliday, folks. Everyone knows who Doc is. Doc Holliday holds the record for most rushing attempts or rushes, carries, however you want to look at it, in Memphis football history. Doc Holliday had 42 carries against Tulane in 1994. If you talk to Doc, he remembers this game very well. I've talked to Doc about it a few times. And shout out to Doc Holliday. He's doing great work there in the Memphis area. But appreciate everyone watching and listening tonight. We have a lot of fun doing this show. It's a lot. We've been going 50 minutes talking about the Memphis campus, and that's really what's important here. Is if you watch this show, if you pay attention to our coverage of Memphis Tigers, and really it's been this way since 2020 when we started. It's always been about the entire campus. It's never just been about one sport or the other. Now tonight we talk volleyball, we talk women's soccer, we talk softball, as they got matchups coming up this week. You talk men's soccer, and then we close with Tiger football. Right here on the Tigers Den, you're always going to get honest, stat-driven, professional coverage of all things, not just Memphis Tigers, but anything that we touch. It's going to be done with straight professionalism every single time. We appreciate everyone watching and listening. Let's go out with a little bit of blues, you say?